My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest for the 200th episode of Real Notes is California via Chicago rapper, producer, writer, creator of the New Negroes, founder of Auto Reverse Records and Stony Island Audio, Open Mike Eagle. We spoke about the pros and cons of independent music and journalism, the films of Ari Aster, Spike Lee, Wes Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson, and the MCU, how Nirvana and Old Dirty Bastard kicked off his deep dive into music, finding himself in Project Load, surviving and thriving in a do-it-yourself world, and the creative process behind his latest album, Neighborhood Gods Unlimited. Thank y'all so much for fucking with us for 200 episodes. Hope you enjoy. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. Wow. Like, I legit spent about 20 minutes trying to practice this in my living room. But like, for anybody listening who hasn't been keeping track, this is the 200th episode of Real Notes. Like this right now, we made it to 200. It's been 4.5 years. Damn. I just want to thank everybody who's been listening, everyone who's been supporting, all my patrons. Big Flowers for putting the artwork together for all the clips and just doing the art direction and making the logo for the podcast. J Words for making the intro music. My partner Desiree for helping me with all the flyers for the live shows. Like, none of this happens without people who want to hear it and be involved. And I don't know that I've said this on here, but I want to say it for people who might be curious. Like, I do all this myself. Like, outside of them, like, I schedule these interviews, record them, write the questions. I edit everything. I do everything up in GarageBand, everything up in iMovie. I edit everything in Riverside, promote it. Like, this is like my baby in every way, shape, or form. So like, if you listen, if you support the Patreon, if you come to a live show, like, you're directly supporting me in everything I do. It means the world that anybody would want to come and do a thing that's mine and not affiliated with Pitchfork or Hearing Things or all the places I've been over the last decade. I could like cry right now. I'm so serious. This is pretty fucking crazy. So like, just thank you to everybody who's been down and people who will be down. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people coming to this one. Just thank y'all, man. It's still really bizarre that this is here. I think I might have figured it out like a month and a half ago that I was like, damn, like 200 is really coming up this summer. But this person I have here today is extremely important for me to have on number 200 because we were just talking about it off camera, but he was one of the first interviews I did for the first big-ish site that I worked for about 10 years ago. We met at a barcade, and it was a barcade in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And you know, like, he and I haven't done another interview since, but we run in the same circles. I've been to quite a few of his shows and seen him around, and just like the respect and admiration I've had for him, like, even before everything else he's done in the last, like, particularly 5 years. I was already a fan, but like, I don't know, man. This is LA based, Chicago born and raised.
Yes, sir.
Rapper, producer, podcaster, fucking co-creator of the New Negroes, mm-hmm. Founder of Stony Island Audio, past due, co-founder with Anna Marie Cox. What am I forgetting? Auto Reverse Records, founder of Auto Reverse Records. Open Mike Eagles here. Yo, man.
What up, man? Man, what a pleasure, what an honor to be here on your 200th episode. I don't know if people understand how hard it is to do 200 of anything. Like,
yeah, man.
Let alone 200 interviews that you personally scheduled, prepared, researched, edited, produced, and promoted. That's wild. It's wild, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Like, and you're like, I can't stress enough. Just like seeing what you did with Stony Island and seeing, you know, like, Secret Skin do its thing, What Had Happened Was do its thing, my brothers over at Dad Bod Rap Pod doing their thing, Blueprint doing his thing. Like, I don't know, man. Just like that, like you and a handful of other people were really the blueprint for me figuring this thing out on my own and turning it into the small little corner of the indie rap world that I have now. So I can't, I can't stress enough how much of an inspiration it was seeing you move and do that on your own. So thank you for that. And like, congratulations on how you've built your shit out, you know?
Well, you know, we still building. We still building.
Yeah, man.
It don't ever stop. It don't ever stop. I'm glad you've been able to build this, and I can hear, you know, it's one thing when you're writing and you're profiling other creators and you're basically spending a lot of your energy, um you know, it's a wonderful service, but you hyping up somebody else's project. Like, I
Yeah.
can hear how you're invested in this. You know what I'm saying? And that's the really dope thing. Like, that you've brought this thing into the world and it's fully formed now and it's got a life of its own. And that's the way. That is the way.
Yeah, man. And then like I did it all again a second time when we brought hearing things into the world. And but that's a whole other conversation that maybe we can get into later.
I've heard some things about it, but I haven't like fully wrapped my head around what it is. But I've seen interesting people say interesting things about it. I need to get hip.
Yeah, please. Like it's literally me and me and four other co-founders. We were all former Pitchfork people. Two of them got laid off and three of us got poached, and we just came together and formed an independent music publication. Like it's literally like, once again, like, it's the five of us. We edit each other, we publish everything ourselves. Like, it's all, like, everything's done entirely in-house. We live off subscription revenue.
Mm-hmm.
We had an investor, we don't anymore. Long story, I don't want to get into it right now, but but it's just us, and we're in the process of building that up. By the time people hear this will have already happened, but we're hosting a summer party in Queens with Infinity Knives and Brian Ennals, because
Dope.
their album's fucking amazing. And I profiled them for that, and they were gracious enough to come up from Baltimore to fuck with us. But so if you came, peace, thank you. But yeah, so yeah, it's like, that's what hearing things is. Like, that's where most of my writing lives. I'm also like back out. I'm just out in the trap, just doing my thing. I write wherever I can get published at this point.
That's real.
Hearing things is home. You know, that's my second child. You know.
That's great. I mean, that's going to be the way that journalism survives, is by journalists getting together and doing their own thing independently. Because you know, the ad-based clickbait sort of direction everything else is going, it's eating journalism alive.
Yeah, man. No, you're telling me it's been a journey, but I really appreciate it. And once again, you know, just like seeing like what like Defector and Hellgate and Aftermath and all these incredible like worker owned, like we're also, I don't think I mentioned that we're fucking worker owned. It's all like all us, but like, you know, like they were the blueprint for us making hearing things. But yeah, that's just where I am now. This is, I don't know what's going to get built next, but I'm just happy to have this. And once again, just happy to have you here to really christen this 200th outing, you know?
That's what's up, man. Let's crack the bottle on the ship side, or whatever they do when they launch things these days.
Something like that. But okay, I want to ask you the first question I ask. Oh, before I forget, Neighborhood Gods Unlimited, it won't be out by the time this comes out, but it'll be out 2 days after. So pre-order it, listen to it everywhere. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it in like however long this takes. But I'm gonna ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, Mike, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
What did I watch last? I've been watching so much lately. The last thing that I watched that I feel like I had a strong opinion about is I watched Beau is Afraid.
Tell me how you feel. So I still haven't seen it. I have a lot of feelings about Ari Aster. Tell me how you feel about it.
I thought, I mean, I was amazed at how far he went. Like there's, like the entire movie feels like a fever dream, but then it's like a 3-hour long fever dream. Everything is surreal. Everything is absurd. And so like, so the production design is just over the top incredible for every minute of this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way to show what an anxious, like a really deeply anxious life feels like. I would say that I think it took too long and went too many places to try to say what it was trying to say, to the
Yeah.
point where um like I have an interpretation of like what happened, in the last act that I wish the movie would have focused more on that part, and dialed back a little less of um how many places it goes, because I feel like it's basically like four movies squeezed into one.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't know if it had four movies worth of stuff to say.
Yeah, like I know how it ends. I know that it ends with him like he basically like does he fight his own penis or does he fight his dad's penis?
I mean, that's one of those things that's open to interpretation, right? Because they don't, you know, the place where that happens, like we see it alluded to earlier in the movie. But so there's the giant penis, but there's also a sickly trapped version of himself, and it's like
Right.
you don't know if this giant penis is his or his dad's, or you don't know what the connection of this imagery is to his own life, because his sexual challenges are also a through line in the movie. So it's that sort of scene I think is really interesting, but I think there's a lot of other scenes that aren't as interesting, and it felt a little monetarily and narrative wise self-indulgent to do a lot of the stuff that they did.
Yeah, and I mean even just seeing from the trailers like you said, like the production design is like really on some it's really on some like kids pop-up book type of stuff, especially like later in the movie when he's like making the journey
Yeah.
across wherever he's making the journey. I don't know, like I'm kind of a sucker I'm a sucker for that type of stuff just visually. It just really appeals to my eye, but I have a lot of Hereditary is the only Ari Aster movie I think I like enjoyed
I like
all the
that one
way
a lot.
through. And like especially to your point of his movies having a lot, like his movies wanting to say a lot but not being able to say it all, like just like cramming too much in there. Like I feel like every other thing he's made kind of feels like that to me. Midsummer felt that way to me.
I haven't seen Midsummer. It's on my list, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I know people who were like obsessed with that movie in a way that I watched it and I was like, this is fine. And like, once again, gorgeous movie, like really, really bright pastel colors, like the color grading is just like everything looks like it's just been beamed with the sun, because I guess it is being beamed with the sun because the whole thing takes place in like broad fucking like no trees outside at all,
Right.
daylight. But like, I don't know. He just like whatever perspective he usually has, it just feels really like it just feels very like bitter white dude to me. And I don't want to say I've had my fill of that, because there's plenty of bitter white dudes in film that I'm like still fucking with to an extent, but like I just don't have any more room in my life for that.
It's interesting. I don't read I mean, again, I've seen two of his movies, right? I've seen Hereditary, I've seen Beau's Afraid. I don't see the perspective as bitter. I see the perspective as actually quite curious. Like there's questions in Hereditary that I think are really interesting questions, and I like the answers that he devised for this particular story. It's like,
Yeah.
What I have enjoyed about both of those movies that I've seen is that it is very intentionally open to very different interpretations, because that's a difficult thing to do. I know that's a difficult thing to do in media, especially when like one of your narrative through lines is very grounded and very about mental health and about losing a child, and like all like those sorts of things, and then you have this other narrative layer that's just like it's about deep Satanist rituals and and magical realism. It's very difficult to pull all that together, and I think in Hereditary you really did that well, in a way that I thought, like I said, to me like it left lingering questions in a way, or like I like that a creator would ask those type of questions versus like when I experience bitterness from a creator, it's usually they've asked a question that may or may not be interesting, and they've already given an answer to it in the media that I don't like. You know, so I'm
Yeah.
more thinking about the conversation I'd like to have with this person and telling them why they're wrong. um, but in this particular sense, I feel like his approach it feels fairly open minded, and I'm enjoying seeing where um where he takes things so far.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely agree with you on Hereditary kind of checking those boxes for me, which is, I think, why it resonated the way it did. I also might, like, I saw, did you ever see, I mean, you said you've only seen This and Beau is Afraid, but when he was a film student, he made a movie called, what's it called?
You know, somebody recommended that to me recently too.
Which one?
No, I don't know the name of it, but somebody told me to watch Ari Aster's student film, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
It's called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't have sponsors. I guess I could talk about what this is about. So like it's a movie about this. It's a movie about this family. It's like a suburban family. It's a dad, a mom, and a son.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm really just like, how do I explain what this movie is about?
I feel like I can already tell, even without you even saying it. I feel like I can already tell.
So if people need to skip ahead, please skip ahead. This is gonna get kind of sexually graphic. I've never said that before, which is crazy, but like the son has a sexual relationship with his father.
Oh, the father.
That the kid instigated.
Okay.
So the kid is basically sexually assaulting his dad.
Wow.
From like a young age.
Wow.
Like he's about to graduate high school and is like raping his father.
Wow.
Basically. And you're like, the mom kind of stumbles in on them one time, but she's in complete abject denial.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're at a party and everybody's trying to like make it seem like it's okay and it's not okay. Obviously the dad wrote a memoir because I think he's also like a writer or something. And the family's black for some reason. Like Ari Aster kind of like explained.
Oh, the family's black. That changes everything.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So he made this movie. He wrote and directed this student film about this incestuous relationship between this kid and his dad. And like he wrote about making the family black as like he had mentioned something in an interview about what's the most taboo thing I could do. And he was like, and you're like, that really turned me like I can't look at his movies.
I actually legit hate hearing that. Now the bail that I would shoot him is that's the sort of dumb thing students say. And I would hope that he knows better than that now. But that is real crazy, and he shouldn't have done that. And he definitely shouldn't have said that that's the reason he did that.
Oh, gee, yeah. Like, I mean, like, go watch it. I'd be interested.
Oh, I'm never going to see it now. I'm not.
Cool. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
No,
Don't.
I'm okay.
Don't. Thank you.
I'm okay.
Yeah. I seen it once. It's like I can think of maybe like 5 movies that I've seen and I'd never need to watch again. That's one of them.
There's one of the ones on my never again list is Requiem for a Dream. I'm never going to watch it again.
Easy. Yeah.
Like
easy.
I did that. I don't need to do that again.
Yeah. Hell no. There is a period of time when Bamboozled by Spike Lee was on my list.
I love that movie.
But that movie's incredible. You know, like the first time I watched it, I needed to take a break.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe about 60 minutes in.
I was
like 16.
There's
you know,
a lot
like
going on in that movie.
It is. And like my dad, I think I've told this story before. My dad had every Spike Lee movie on DVD from School Days to Bamboozled. Never opened them. So I just
Never
had
opened.
like, the essential Spike Lee in my crib. So like Crooklyn, Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, like, I think the only one he was missing was Clockers, which I saw years later. But like, I just pulled Bamboozle because I saw the cover and I'm like, this looks crazy.
Yeah.
What's this? So I, but like that's one where I initially was like, I can't really watch that again, but it's one that I can run it back every like year or two. It's
I used to watch that
fantastic.
movie. I had one of my Black Studies classes in college, and I think we watched that movie a few times in that class. Like, I was like, I was at the age where it was perfect for me. You know, like being a rap fan, being somebody who was really just getting their mind open at that time to like, what was it known at that time as Black psychology. I think it's got a different name now. Like, it was like the perfect fodder for me at the time. And I really enjoyed it. Just, it's another crazy movie with layers. And to me, it's like that movie is the progenitor to like, Sorry to Bother You. You know what I'm saying? Like the new
Easy.
sort of Black absurdist cinema that sort of deals with it. To me, these movies end up being absurd because the problems that they are trying to address are absurd.
Yeah.
So like I love stuff like that, especially when it comes to like racial politics. I love stuff like that.
You and me both, man. And yeah, like I noticed that when I first saw Sorry to Bother You too, which like that, like that kind of felt like like I had already seen a bunch of movies like it before, or at least trying to do a similar thing, because it's its own singular. Boots is on a different type of time than a lot of people. But I also so like I want to say the second or third time I saw Bamboozle was also in a film studies class. I forget which one, but I had already seen it, so I knew what to expect.
Right.
I knew I was gonna laugh and to keep from crying about MC Search being the last of the Mau Mau's left after every, what was he, 1/16th Black, I think his name was?
I forgot what his name was. I just remember that scene with him all in the studio and him doing his verse from Gas Face. Like, why?
And Spike asked him to do his verse from Gas 100%. Face too. 100%. That's the funniest part of it to me. But like when I saw it again in that class, like I love the movie. I'm enjoying it. There was a woman sitting in front of me, and she was like taking crazy notes throughout the whole movie. She wasn't Black, but she wasn't white. She was some person of color. I can't remember exactly what. But the lights came on and I could see her notebook. She wrote in huge, I'm talking like damn near half the page huge, 2 words, too angry.
Wow.
I will never, ever, ever forget that. Wow. Like she wrote too angry. And I was like, I really wanted to tap her shoulder and be like, what do you mean by that? Explain, elaborate, please.
Oh boy, what a dangerous avenue to go down.
Continue, oh great niggerologist,
Yeah, risky business. It's kind of like if you're a white man writing a movie about a Black incestuous family, it's just a weird road to go down,
College was a time, bro. Mm-hmm. It was a time, Jesus. Before we get more into your history, I wanted to bring up the last thing I saw because I've been thinking about it a lot since I left the theater. I saw 28 Years Later, which I thought was really cool. I didn't love it like I expected to, but it's I don't know. Like I love the first 28 Days Later. I think it's a classic. It's one of the only movies that I can watch with shaky cam footage that doesn't make me just want to like die while watching it, except for like Chronicle and maybe the Blair Witch Project. There's a couple others, but I'm blanking on names. But like, I really appreciate how all 3 of the movies so far they're essentially about the same thing, but they're all different kinds of movies. Like the first one's very much like an action thriller and like this shit just happened, we're all figuring it out, and like the tension's there, and like the isolation and the slow mood building's there. The second one's like more of like a solid like action movie with less of the thriller stuff in it, outside of the intro, which is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a movie, where like the family's in the house, and then all the rage virus people run in, and his whole family gets fucked up. He winds up jumping out the window as his wife is stuck in the room. It's just, it's fucking terrifying. It's so cool.
I've never seen any of those.
I if you're a horror dude, I'd recommend them. They're you know, like even if it's just to like have an opinion about the movies, like 28 Days is the one that revitalized like what we understand as zombies, because like they're not exactly zombies, they just have this like virus thing that makes them angry and run really fast. But like for all intents and purposes, they're basically zombies. And the third one that just came out is very much like it's in the title. It's been 28 years, and like England is the only place that got hit with the rage virus. So they managed to get rid of it everywhere else in the world, but England is in quarantine. Like the whole country is quarantined off from the world. Like they're all on like hunter-gatherer society type time, like living in like walled off encampments, and with the big wood pyres and all that shit. And the rest of the world is just like we are right now, but everybody in Britain is just completely cut off and dealing with all these sick people who are like people but not really. It's really weird stuff, but and like this one's kind of, it feels more like The Walking Dead or like The Last of Us in terms of that like post-apocalyptic, like we're dealing with The Walking Dead type of thing. And I appreciated a lot of how it went about it. It's just like it's a strange movie to be as big as it is right now. And I'm always, even if I don't love it, I'm always going to appreciate something that's like trying to do something a little different or take a risk, especially with like a known established IP like 28 Days Later, you know, like just, yeah. So it was, I don't want to say too much because it's definitely the type of movie that I don't want to spoil because it has a cool ending, but yeah, just cool stuff. You know?
I did. You reminded me that the last movie I saw was actually The Phoenician Scheme. That's the last movie I saw.
Okay, I saw that. Let's talk about let's talk about The Phoenician Scheme. Are you a Wes Anderson fan?
I have been my entire life, my entire adult life, been a Wes Anderson fan.
So how did you feel about this one?
I did not like this movie.
Oh wow!
I did not like this movie at all. To me, and you know, this felt very much like everything people say about Wes Anderson movies, in that like great, you know, you get these great characters and a great story, but he just stylizes it so much you can't access it, you know. And I just felt so much of the production design choices, the symmetry, all of that just getting in the way of the story that was unfolding. And I just couldn't, I couldn't, it wouldn't let me in, you know? And like, I didn't want to just have the sensory experience. Like I wanted to feel the story. And part of why it felt a little disappointing to me, because I really, really liked Asteroid City. I really liked that movie a lot. I felt like that movie was him trying to like break his own form. And I felt like he was attempting to show us how he feels about something in that movie. And I wanted more of that, where I feel like this actually, it felt like it regressed to me. It felt like, feeling scary. And it ran back towards the stop. That was my takeaway. And that's the thing. It's like, I barely remember what happened because it just felt like a series of vignettes, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting? I mean, the last movie of his that made me feel that way, I was just talking to a homie about this. Moonrise Kingdom made me feel that way. Like it was one that kind of felt like it was a little too in love with its own style. And like, I don't remember most of what, I remember that like the Boy Scouts are involved and like Bruce Willis had tight shorts on. That's all. Those are the only two things I remember about Moonrise Kingdom. But it's also been like a decade since I've seen it. Yeah, like I enjoyed Asteroid City, but I didn't really connect with it the way I wanted to. Like it's really good. I actually think I might have liked the Phoenician Scheme a little bit more. I almost had like the opposite reaction to you. Like this one really kind of like it took me really sitting with it and like reading about it more. Like I wasn't 100% with it in the moment, but once I started to really think about like the relationship between like faith and God and you know just like everything going on with Benicio del Toro's character and just him being this like greedy capitalist and like I loved Michael Cera's character. I thought he was my favorite in the whole movie. It's just cool to see him like get to do like a fun showy role like this again because he hasn't done one in a while. But like it just it all just started to hit me a little closer and a little more differently. I don't know if I'm gonna feel that way. I don't know if I'm gonna feel that way if I watch the movie again. But like, I guess if I had to put them together, I liked the Phoenician Scheme more than I liked Asteroid City, but not as much as I liked what was the fucking journalist movie?
French Dispatch.
French Dispatch. Yeah, there we go. I love the French Dispatch.
See, I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one. I didn't even finish French Dispatch.
Wow, damn.
I didn't finish it. Like it, so okay. Movies like vignette movies like that are a little tough for me sometimes. I get it. If there's no narrative through line and what I'll tell you one that did work for me that's not him. Did you see The Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
No, I never got the chance.
Whoa, I love that movie.
I heard it was great. I just never got around to it.
Yeah, like there's so much like that movie is a vignette movie with so much like intense feeling that they get to so fast.
Yeah.
Like and everything was different, but it all felt self-contained and satisfying. Or at French Dispatch, I was just like my eyes were glazing over after a certain point. Like again, it felt like it was just trying to communicate with style. Like, and I love style, but like, I don't know. I really like narrative. I really like story. I really like, characters going through something and it changes them. And, like that's what feeds me the most. And I wasn't fed by that one.
I feel it. And I want to acknowledge that part of the reason why I think I like the French Dispatch so much is because I'm a writer. It's a movie about writing. It's a movie about journalism. Like, I like immediately glomped myself onto Jeffrey Wright's character. Like it was just like, he started talking and I was like, boom, that's my end, type shit. But,
I really like Jeffrey Wright in Phoenician Scheme too. I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing.
I wish Sung was in the movie more. I love him, man. He's really, he's one of the best we got.
Yeah.
But I will say that I felt most strongly about the first and third sections of French Dispatch.
Okay.
Like the second one didn't really do it for me. That was the one with Timothy Chalamet and Frances McDormand and like the student revolutionaries, the radicals, which like, I mean, like, yeah, like fight the power, like fuck the bullshit. But like, for some reason, it just kind of gave me like Les Mis in the 30s. And I was like, I don't need this. I'm cool off of this. But like, like French Dispatch really, really spoke to me in a way that like, it almost kind of feels like every other Wes Anderson's kind of just like not touching what I needed to. It's just like, it's like very up and down ever since Grand Budapest Hotel. Like I think that's the one where it was like, it was so up and then it just kind of goes down, up, down, up, down, up.
Yeah. Grand Budapest to me was one of the ones where he struck that perfect balance between style and substance. Like I really love that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's one that I think it's the only one of his movies I own, which I want to change. There's like a handful of like I would love to own Tenenbaums. I would love to own
Rushmore lives in my heart. Like Rushmore is my shit. I love that movie.
Like that tracks to me. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Just like knowing the way you like your thing structured and just like the way you approach everything you do. Like Rushmore
That's
being that for you is
That's one of the ones.
It's good. I like Rushmore more than I like Bottle Rocket. But
I
like
same. I like Bottle Rocket, but I like Rushmore way
yeah,
more. Yeah.
yeah. I could. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I almost like just didn't like Battle Rocket. Like I would almost be fine if Rushmore was the first one.
Yeah,
you know,
I
to be
did it. Like
honest.
I enjoyed Bottle Rocket, but not the way I enjoyed everything that came after. You know.
Right. Yeah. No, and I appreciate that he got the chance to kind of find his footing, and
Mhm.
now he's kind of father to this whole like like when people think of symmetry in film, they most likely think of Wes Anderson,
100%.
and like he's like very closely tied to like Criterion. They've released all his movies. I know he like works with them in some capacity, but yeah, but either way, like he's Wes Anderson's somebody I'm always really interested in his stuff, even if I don't love it. Like I've been thinking about the Phoenician Scheme ever since I saw it, and I'm actually kind of excited to watch it a second time and see if it still connects, and if like, because like I might have just been caught up in the whole thing, and like I need to just like sit and be like, oh, maybe this, because like we all get caught up in the shit, like even if you're trying to look at it objectively, quote unquote, like we get caught up in things, and it can be hard to miss. It can be easy to miss stuff on a first or even a second go through.
I know my mindset going into it. Like I've been watching a lot of like really intense movies lately, like really, like all that Ari Aster stuff, the Eggers stuff, like all them A24. Like I've just been on a steady diet of that stuff lately,
Right.
and also I'm coming into it thinking about how much Asteroid City just lingered with me after I saw that movie. Like it really just sat with me for like days. And so like there was a particular sort of like perspective I felt like I was looking for from Wes Anderson. I wanted to see if he was going to continue doing that, and I just I think that my enjoyment of the movie was definitely informed by the things I've been watching recently and what I liked about the last thing he did. And so, it just, he didn't seem to be interested in picking those things up. So I kind of, I can't say that what he did was bad in any way, but it just wasn't what I was looking for,
Right. And like if that's not the case, like it's gonna affect the way you watch the movie. Like it's just like you can't, I don't know. At least I have a hard time with that. Like sometimes you can see the appeal of something and just like not like it, but other times it's just like, oh, this just is not for me. I don't see the appeal. I'm out. And that's fine. Like you can like do that more often, people. Like don't feel like you need to strain to get it. Like if it's just not for you, it's not for you, and you can peace, and it's fine. But I want to know more. I mean, like now that we're talking about Rushmore and that being kind of like one of your ones, what's the first movie experience you can remember having? Like it could be at the theater.
Yeah, my mom took me to see Coming to America when I was way too young.
Tell me how young.
I had to be 7, 8? Like the royal penis is clean, all of that. Like, like what? Like, it was wild. It was a wild movie.
Yeah, no, it's that movie's a classic first and foremost, but 100%. Like 7 years old is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm like learning about the world through Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, what I'm saying? Comedy. I didn't understand, there's a place called Queens? What? Like I don't know nothing, right? Like it was really something. And of course I've seen it plenty of times since then, but that's the first theater experience I ever remember having, was just being wide-eyed watching Coming to America as a little kid.
And this was in Chicago.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. I just like, I feel like any person who's ever watched a movie, more likely than not, has like that experience of like, oh, I saw this way too young. Like I had, like I had Fonte on here like a couple years back, and he mentioned seeing Purple Rain when he was like 9 or 10.
Right. Yeah.
And
same. I was probably around the same age when I first saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like he told this story about how like his mom put his her hand over his eyes while I forget what scene it was, but you know, just like and then really early on I had Woods on, and I had Woods and Elucid on when they put out Haram, and I forget what movie it was, but he just gave me this image of like little baby Billy Woods just like crying in a movie theater watching like some scary shit. He had to have been like around the same age you were when you saw Coming to America, and he's just like sobbing. Like I can't imagine Woods crying ever. So just so you know, just him being like, yeah, I'm just like in the theater sobbing. I'm like, what? Like you could do that?
I haven't heard of many kids crying in films, but you know, it is a thing that happens to me every now and then. You know.
Well, I mean, let's just go there. When was the last time you cried in a movie?
Oh, I cried a little bit in Thunderbolts, but that's just because I was going through something, you know. But like that part, you know, that you seen Thunderbolts?
Not yet.
Okay. There's a very heartwarming conversation that happens in the third act of that movie, and it got me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I just like I haven't been rushing to the theater to go catch anything Marvel lately, and I just haven't gotten the Thunderbolts yet. Especially since they did the whole like, hey, it's actually the new Avenger. Like, I'm still a little upset about that. I don't know why they did that the way they did it, but did you like Thunderbolts? Like, is it worth?
I thought it was good.
Okay, cool.
I thought it was really good. I mean,
yeah,
it's got issues, but I enjoyed it. You know, I certainly enjoyed it more than I've enjoyed a Marvel movie in a little while.
Right. I'm trying to remember it because I saw I gotta go scroll through my list. I saw the new Captain America. It was just okay.
That movie's a mess. Like there's a conversation that happens between Anthony Mackie and Giancarlo Esposito in that movie that I am sure, like, I can't imagine how far they must have been away from each other in real time. Like this. It is very clear they were not in that same room together. Like very clear. It was so weird. It was so like, it was like, oh my God, like just the convention. Like, and I don't like to say stuff like what I was thinking of saying, and I was trying to find a better way to say it, but like there are things about the craft of that movie that seem like real, like somebody really dropped the ball.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many like obvious insertions of dialogue scenes into scenes to like, oh, they decided to put a joke in that a month after they shot it. You know what I'm saying? So they got the same people together and had them do this other part, and it doesn't make sense. And it, you know, I think that movie's a real mess. I don't think it's bad necessarily. They've certainly had worse movies to me.
For sure, yeah.
It's starting to get to the point with the MCU though that like they're just running out of bail. Like if for what these movies need to be for that entire genre to continue being like substantial and people really invested in it, they can't afford to make as many mistakes as they make. They just can't. Like they're just losing all of their goodwill.
Yeah, and like and I feel like a big part of that is because a lot of those movies were like you could tell that they were still kind of being fucked over by the pandemic in a lot of ways, and like that movie had a lot of reshoots. Like it's like all public knowledge, and it's all there on the screen,
right?
In real not great ways, you know.
I feel like it affected. I feel like it really affected Anthony Mackie's performance in a lot of it. Yeah. Like I feel like they had him doing so many different things at different times that like he doesn't feel like he's emotionally there.
Right. I also don't like him, so I kind of feel that way about him generally.
You know what's funny? I've never minded him. I could see somebody having that opinion though. I could certainly see somebody having that opinion.
You ever see the he was in this he was in this basketball movie. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Crossover. He was in this
I never
movie
heard of
from
that.
2006 called Crossover, where he's like a street ball. He's like a street ball player, and like he's like friends with a dude who's like trying to go to school for basketball. Wayne Brady's in it, and he's like a street ball promoter. Like it's like it takes place in Detroit, and he's just like trying to lay game down on women and like play basketball, and he's just like not good at it. like if I never have to hear Anthony Mackie call a woman a fine looking young breezy ever again in my life.
See, that doesn't sound like it's good dialogue for him. You know, that doesn't sound like a thing he should be saying. You're right. He should not be saying that.
The movie's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth a watch. But yeah, like, I don't know. He's just like the way he carries himself outside of movies, and
I try so
his
hard not to
acting
pay attention to what any of these people do.
Yeah, man,
I try so hard.
Every once in a while it gets through, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna look at you the same again.
Yeah.
But that said, Red Hulk is really cool. I went to DC. Yeah.
Why did they tell us that he was in the movie before we saw the movie?
I don't know.
Why did they do that? Because the whole movie, the whole movie was it set it up so cool. Like there were so many misdirects and so many little breadcrumbs. So like, if you didn't know that was gonna happen, you would have been mind blown.
Yeah, but they splashed it over every like.
I don't understand why they did that.
I think from like the second trailer, because they mentioned Thunderbolt Ross, and I'm like, oh, they're doing Red Hulk. Like, I know the story, I know what's happening. But then they show it in the second trailer, and I'm like, damn. Like, in my head, I'm just like, they must have some other big surprise. No other big surprise.
I guess they thought the leader was gonna be.
I guess
show stealing. I don't know.
Shout out to Buster Scruggs, Tim Blake Nelson. But I love Tim Blake Nelson, but like he's not enough to hang that movie on. You know, like in terms of like surprises.
I loved his performance too, but yeah, you're right. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, like he was really dope. He's dope in everything he does. But yeah, I was like you. I was just like, why are they doing this? Like, why? And then I thought about it, and I said, oh, they really don't think people are gonna like this movie. Like, they're desperate to get asses in seats.
Yeah, but you know, you can't. The way that movie was constructed. The juice of that movie was, Harrison Ford is tripping all throughout this, and every now and then it looks like something's about to happen to him, and you're like, they're like, oh, it's my heart. It's like, okay, it's his heart, and then and then the leader starts hinting at other stuff that's going to happen, and you just have no idea that's coming. To me, it's like the way that the film is constructed, it is setting up this moment so well. And so you really cut the knees off of the one of the more interesting things they were trying to do.
Right. Yeah. Nah. And then of course they're like, there are gamma pills, and it's like, oh, he's a Hulk. You know, it's like immediate. But you know, like you're 100% right. Like the movie's acting like people don't already know that he's about to be Red Hulk. Exactly. So it really was just such a wasted opportunity. But like they're cool in it. But I know I'm kind of excited for Fantastic Four. It looks fun.
I just saw the trailer today. That last trailer today.
I still haven't seen the last trailer yet. But like I love the Fantastic Four. I think they're great. So I'm like, that gets all the benefit of the doubt for me.
I have high hopes for it. This trailer was my fear. I have a fear.
Yeah.
I have a fear that inherently it might just be too difficult to make a Fantastic Four movie that you can be psychologically invested in because of the nature of the VFX involved. Like, it's just really hard to make a guy on fire look believable.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make stretchy powers look right in time. Like, it's like when you draw it and it's just a still frame, it looks crazy, but like to see it in real time, it's like that's kind of funky looking. And then the Silver Surfer, like it's difficult to do these things in moving film, in a way that you're not just staring at it like that looks weird, you know. And I'm as important as this movie is for the MCU, I really want it to be good. those things, the VFX in the trailer, uh, they didn't leave me with the most hope that they're gonna pull this off right.
Right. And to me, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that like the Fantastic Four is kind of silly, and the last version didn't really get this either, and it seems like the new one doesn't fully want to commit to like Ben is a fucking orange rock monster from space who like may or may not be immortal. Like Mr. Fantastic fucking stretches like rubber, like like Johnny's on fire all the time. Sue's like Sue can shoot force fields and make like crazy poses. Like Galactus has this crazy crown look. It's all silly. Like it's really, really silly. And I think like I feel like the MCU is kind of gone away from like early on they were kind of embracing the silliness a little bit, and now it's just kind of like one thing I did see from the new trailer is people complaining about how like Ben kind of like sighed and then said it's clobbering time, and it's like that's his thing. Like why are we making him so apathetic about saying it's clobbering time? Like embrace the silliness.
I you know what they were trying to do in the trailer, they were trying to okay, in this depiction of the Fantastic Four, it seems like that the way that they're setting it up is that there's a real there are 4 real human beings who went through this that are the Fantastic Four, but they are in a world where they have been public superheroes for so long, and they are so popular that there has been media made about these real 4 people in the world that they live in, right? So there's a point where the thing says, no, I don't want to say that. They just say that in the cartoon. So they're trying to like separate it like that, and I don't know if that's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely a tightrope they got to walk to like really land that. Yeah, like because I don't need another Arrested Development Fantastic Four in my life. I don't need another one of those. But before I get too distracted, as you get older and you start to develop your tastes and expand your palate, all that stuff, I like to think of this next one as a capital M movie, like one that really stopped you in your tracks and connected with you in an emotional, artistic, or spiritual sense, like something that was just like more than 90 minutes of entertainment. Like what's the first? Wow. Shout out to Paul Thomas Anderson, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Before I really started watching like 70s movies, Magnolia was my favorite movie. I've seen it so many times. Like it's just I hadn't seen a movie with a range of emotions like that.
Yeah.
And like all like a full cast of heartbroken characters that I ended up loving each and every one of them. Like it was the sort of movie. The first time I can remember having a movie experience where like the movie knew what I was gonna think in the beginning, and it just completely dismantled all of it by the end. Like it just set up all of these. Oh, I know this. Oh, this is a cop. He's gonna be an asshole. And this, and this lady's a drug addict. She's gonna be an asshole. This is the wife of some rich old man. She's gonna be an asshole. Everybody was just heartbroken and beautiful at the end. Everybody was just heartbroken and incredible. Even you find some empathy for Tom Cruise's character. You know, like it ain't
somehow,
easy, but you can find it. You can find it. It's like the movie has such a heart. I don't know. It just really invites everybody to the table, and they all deal with this. They all deal with their personal history and everything bubbling to the surface, and then a bunch of fucking frogs, fall from the sky. I don't know. That's the one of like the first movie that just like blew the back of my head open. You know,
how old were you?
Oh, I had to be like 20, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember when I first saw Magnolia, but I remember just like going into it and not knowing what to expect from Tom Cruise. I mean, to like you were saying, just the idea of like having the idea of Tom Cruise in my head, like Mission Impossible, like handsome action, like he's already a movie star at this point, so he has his persona, and then he just like you said, just completely subverts it. He's like actually like acting for the first time, not for the first time, but like he's acting in a different way, and he's just working different muscles in this movie, and just like he's just like the most like wigged out, deplorable, like crazy person that I'd ever seen in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which is saying a lot. Because because by this point I'd already seen like Boogie Nights and everything, so like Boogie Nights is my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. But Magnolia is such a, like that's the one, like you said, where I started to see how he could bring all these different people together and just like make you care and sympathize with most, if not all of them. Because like Boogie Nights is the exact opposite. Like you leave not really liking anybody in that movie.
You're disgusted with all the characters. You're disgusted with yourself. It's just it's all bad. The world's bad. Everything's bad.
Right. Even though the scene with Don Cheadle in the donut shop and the whole shooting happens around him and he's just in, like, that's one of my favorite scenes in a movie ever. It makes me smile just thinking about it. But yeah. So like Magnolia does almost the exact opposite thing, where it's just like, it's going to take these people and just, like you said, just get to the core of like, they're all just broken in some way.
Yeah.
And like, they all just need a hug.
Right.
Which like some of them need a little more than just a hug.
They all need to sing along with Amy Mann. That's what they all need, to sing along with Amy Mann.
1000%. And like, and then I think of something like Licorice Pizza, which I hated.
I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it.
I hated it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't like. I get weird around like certain type of kid stuff. You know, like it was like, is this gonna? I'm good.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that one.
I watched it in the theater, and I love Paul Thomas Anderson. He's one of my favorites. So I really thugged it out and was like, let me see if this gets better. It didn't get better. I was like, I fucking hate this, and it's the only one of his movies I feel that way about. I at least really like all of his other movies.
I really Inherent Vice. That's him, right?
Yeah,
Inherent Vice. I love that movie a lot. I watched that movie like I've seen that movie on airplanes like half a dozen times. Like I love that movie.
That's fire.
I don't like Phantom Thread.
I
did not like that movie at all.
It's definitely closer to the bottom of my list. Like it's not bad, but definitely like it's like very it's good to me as opposed to like The Master or like
I love The Master.
Yeah, and on Inherent Vice, I've only seen it once, and I saw the first 25 minutes, and then I fell asleep. And I woke up for the last 20 minutes.
Oh.
And I feel like I got the same experience watching it that I would have gotten if I had watched the whole movie, which isn't a bad thing at all. Because I could
see that.
That's just what Thomas Pynchon's on. Like that's what the book is. Like, and I haven't seen the whole thing since, which is the crazy part. One day I'm gonna do it, but like,
Punch Drunk Love is one of my favorite movies ever too.
Yeah,
Punch Drunk
Love. And
yeah,
like once again, speaking of like subverting expectations, like seeing Adam Sandler come out of his shell and just make this really like well-rounded, complex and fucked up character. Like
and
just
Philip Seymour Hoffman's terrifying, just over the phone, terrifying.
Yeah, man. Underrated Philip Seymour Hoffman performance. Like I don't think people talk about that one enough. But you know, like Magnolia is really one of those. I think it's like everyone I've talked to about it, nobody has a weak reaction to that movie. It's either like you love it or you hate it.
Right.
There's no in between. There's no in between. And like that's but you know, like that's kind of, if depending on how you look at it, I feel like that might be like a keystone to everything that Thomas Anderson does. Like he's just you can see all the other you can see all his fixations and themes, just like it's all in Magnolia. So yeah, to me anyway.
Yeah.
But I want to do the same thing with music for you. When did music, not in terms of you wanting to make it, but when did music become capital M music for you?
Oof. Um.
In terms of being fascinated by it.
Ooh, that's tough. Because I don't know if I've ever wasn't. I
Mm. That's a good answer. So
yeah, I have always been a little obsessed with music and just pour it in me. You know, just even as a little kid, like hearing stuff on the radio, I didn't even understand. Just um, you know, there have been different phases where I've dove headfirst into learning about it on my own, and so like, you know, that was happening as early as 9 and 10. Like, I grew up in a house where I had a TV in my room and we had cable. So I was watching a lot of MTV and BET. I wasn't watching because old school VH1 was really like adult contemporary music that I had no interest in. But like MTV, BET, The Box was big in Chicago for music videos. So I was just I would watch it all. I'd watch everything. I'd watch rock, I'd watch rap, I'd watch like I just really loved it. Um, I think my first real obsession might have been uh like
mm-hmm.
grunge era, because I remember distinctly seeing the public image of the rock star go from hair metal to grunge, and that was so crazy to me to see, like to watch happen. Like when I
Yeah.
would be watching like Headbangers Ball, right? And then suddenly there's like a Nirvana video and an Alice in Chains video, like to where like, you know, it used to be these guys with makeup on and this big teased out hair and ripped up shirts, and there's just like girls falling all over themselves. And then like then they would show this Alice in Chains video where like the guy's got on thermal underwear under his shorts. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah,
and
man.
you know, and he's got the flannel on and he looks all mangled in the corner. I'm like, what is happening here? And then to see that emerge the way it did, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, um, Pearl Jam, of course, like to see how that rose up from something that seemed so niche and overtook everything. It was like I didn't even know something like that was possible. And I was like watching it in real time. And I to this day, I don't know if something like that is still possible.
Mm.
But I can remember that being a time where I was just like, I want to know everything about all of these people. And so I'm buying cassette tapes and I'm poring over the liner notes and oh, Butch Vig was part of this and part of that. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
all of that stuff started in like 1990.
Man, I mean like it was a little I mean like I was born in 92, so I came to Nirvana a little late, but I'll never forget the first time I heard In Utero. And I had that same moment where I was just like, what is this? Who is that? You know, like, and then I find Nevermind and all the other stuff, and it's just like, you know, like there's a like it's a reason kids are still wearing Nirvana t-shirts today. Outside, you know, like outside of the fact that the smiley face logo is iconic and everybody knows it, like people really connect with Kurt in so many ways, and like they just like it like it feels it feels timeless the way that like Nirvana particularly just kind of bursted through the scene, because like when you like whenever somebody discovers Kurt Cobain, it's like, who is this? What is Nirvana? Like, who made all these things? Like, who's Dave Grohl? What did he do with the drums? Like all that stuff. It's so like I get that, because I had a similar experience with a lot of like a lot of the pop punk stuff that happened in like the mid to late 2000s. Like yeah, no, like me and my partner and their brother were just talking about like Fall Out Boy and like all that shit, because like he's in college, he's like 19, like they're all obsessed with they're all obsessed with Fall Out Boy and fucking Panic at the Disco and Paramore. Like they're coming to that stuff like 20 years after I did, and I'm at that point now where it's like, yeah, like that shit really, it really connected with and impacted on people. Like I remember when things made the transition to that,
Yeah, that's when I
And
was
it's
out.
just like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
That's when I had my rap awakening, was right around then. I got bored with the rock music, because it went from Pearl Jam, and then, you know, Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, okay, I'm still with that. And then it was like Creed. I'm like, nah, I'm good. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then they started like from Green Day being around, and then Offspring started out punk, and they started doing like weird pop stuff. And then there was like the pop punk rising, and I'm like, nah, I'm the Blink 182 and all that. It wasn't for me.
Right.
And that's when I really had like my rap music baptism, was right around then.
How old were you when that happened?
I got deep into hip hop when I was like 14, 15. Like really, like it became my whole world was around then.
Yeah, I mean like Chicago around that time, like people don't, like, it doesn't get talked about on a national scale the way I feel like it should, but like there's already a lot happening just like right outside your window, rap related anyway, you know. But like what was the stuff that you were really gravitating? I mean, like, I see the Doom mask, and we all know your history and relationship with Doom, but like when did like what was the stuff that you started gravitating towards when you first started getting the rap?
Yeah, because even Doom, first time I heard Doom's like 97. So like it was like 94 when like I just had like bored with rock, and it was a combination of, because I had my homie, I was in 7th, 8th grade or something, and my homie let me borrow 3 of his CDs. 3. It was, gosh, I might have been a freshman, but it was Do You Want More by the Roots, Common's Resurrection, gosh, there was one more I don't remember, but the one that I put in that same group, even though I might have bought this one on my own, was Old Dirty Bastards album. Return to the 36 Chambers. Yeah. Like, I loved him so much. Like, I got into him before I even got into the rest of the Wu-Tang Clan. Like, I used to watch the box, the music video jukebox channel on cable, and the Shimmy Shimmy Ya video. I'm like, what is happening here? Who is this, like, who is this dude, this disco dude, like just with this crazy energy and like moving his body in ways I don't understand. Like, and so like that sort of shifted my attention. Like, oh, there's all this really interesting musical, like super musical hip hop. So RZA's production, Native Tongue's production. So all the stuff that Q-Tip was doing for Tribe and Prince Paul was doing for De La. This is right around the time Busta's solo album, The Coming, I think that was 95. So you got that stuff. You got all the Wu-Tang solo albums dropping, Raekwon, GZA, Method Man, like, and I'm going back and listening to everything too, getting all the first wave Native Tongues albums, getting all the getting the original Wu out. Like, so there's just like this underground, it's not even underground. It was just like more sort of like jazz influenced with the production sound coming out of New York, you know, 93 to like 95, that just completely took everything over for me. And then there was this radio station in Chicago called WHBK. It's a college station. They had 3 rap radio shows a week, and that just became my lifeline. Like, oh, I'm learning about Kool Keith, and then okay, it's Ultramagnetic, and you know, and Hyro, and it's just everything. And then, you know, not to mention, then Raucous starts happening. And the crazy thing about Raucous was, because, you know, 94, 95, I'm getting into hip hop. I read this book called Bomb the Suburbs. It tells me in no uncertain terms, if you're going to call yourself hip hop, you got to be doing this shit. Like, you can't just be listening to the music and dressing this way. So I'm like, okay, well, then I'm going to start doing graffiti and breakdancing and rapping. And so I get into the scene where all of that is happening in the South Side of Chicago. And then when you start hearing Raucous, it's like, oh, they doing the same shit we doing. And we knew where it came from, so it wasn't like shocking, but it was like, oh, that could be us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like these are dudes who cipher. These are dudes who make beats. These are dudes who like rap on the street corner just like we do, you know? And so that just made my fascination with, at that point you could start to call it underground hip hop. It made it even
Right.
deeper by that point.
Yeah, I mean, how could it not? You know, like you have access to the college radio station. You're learning about, yeah, just like whenever, like the second the deep dive starts, like it was the same way for me. Like the second the deep dive started, not even into just like the stuff that was like underground. Like I'll never forget the first time I heard Matt Villainy, because that really started my descent down to the center of the earth.
Hmm.
but like, but like but like concurrently with that, I really started digging into like, that's when I really got into Tribe and really got into Nas and really got into like, just like, I just started digging into like, just like the foundational stuff that really just started to open my brain, because like I was like a huge Southern rap kid.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Lupe, I loved Kanye. Neither of them are from the South, but like I was like big into Lil Jon, Ti, like like the whole crunk rap, everything, snap music, ringtone shit. Like I was taking all of that in, but then I heard Food and Liquor,
Mm-hmm.
and then I heard College Dropout, and then I heard, like all of that stuff, and then that's when I started to descend. But like there's something so pure and like tender about that era of just
Mm-hmm.
like, man, like what else is there to know is always the question. Like that's always the question. And it's
Because
just
you
like,
never run out. You never run
you
out.
ever, like you can never know it all, which is beautiful and also kind of sad. But like since you're at this point where you're deciding that it's time to like actually do the thing, I'm sure it came a little bit after this, but when did you know that rap was going to become more than just a hobby for you?
So when I was listening to HBK, one of the first times I ever heard somebody freestyle, I heard Rhymefest. He was sitting in one of the DJs and he started freestyling. I was like, oh shit. And then I found a place where people were doing that. But like, and Rhymefest was there too. Like Rhymefest would be at the spots where we were at. I battled Rhymefest once when I was in high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
You battled Rhymefest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He
Go?
served me my first L. He served me because I used to like get it in and battling. Like I was like a prodigy when it came to battling because
Oh shit!
I just was so like the way that my brain works, becoming obsessed with rhyming words. Like I was like, oh, I just had a galaxy of connections I could make and break people down.
Yeah.
I was in a cipher with Ron Fest once, and I said something, or I must have cut him off or something, and he took it that way, and he took it there, and we started going back and forth. And I remember I was wearing this maroon, the Indiana Hoosiers. They
Yeah,
have this
dude. Yeah.
maroon, so it was like this maroon sweatshirt that said Hoosiers on it in cursive. And he was like, rapping like you never heard of me. Look at you. You're not even matching with your burgundy. And it was over. It was over.
Damn, that's honestly that's kind of an honor though to
Yeah,
get like flamed by to get flamed by fucking Rhymefest, like.
But I got respect for even stepping up to him. Everybody knew who Rhymefest was, but
exactly.
I couldn't be scared of him. That's what we was doing the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We was doing the thing. But so the reason I brought him up is because he was the first person who like heard him on the radio freestyling, met him, would rap with him. Also, they would play his music. So it's like, wait a minute. Like you can just do that. Like you can just make music and like get it on the radio. Like it was one of the first times where it was like, oh, making music is not a thing that happens far away on another planet. Like it's like people around me are doing that. So I didn't necessarily know how, but because of that, it's like I knew it was a possibility. And then when I was in college, my first recordings are from then. So it's just getting on other people's songs. It was like the first time I ever like really like wrote songs and stuff. The first time I wrote songs, this band it's like a jazz band, but they like playing little hip hop grooves. So they would do these shows that they'd have us come on and freestyle during their shows. They wanted to do a show where they could book us as rappers, right? So I had to write songs so I could have a set. And that was like the first time I ever like wrote songs. And so that was a big step. Like, whoa, I can write songs, hooks, choruses, and like, okay, you know. And then I was making the beats myself on my little, you know, Acid 2.0 setup on my computer in my apartment or whatever. And you could burn CDs. It was like, oh, you could just burn a CD and put a label on it and design it, and you can put that in a little envelope and you could sell it to people. So you start doing that too. And then when I moved to LA and got really deep with the Project Blow, that was like the final lesson. Right. Because then I was around heads who was like really making a career of it, and they were willing to like show me all the steps. Like I could go on tour with them. They would show me how they booked the tour. They would show me how they set up their merch. They would show me how they would sell copies of their new album to record stores. Like they really just put me on to the game of how this works. And it was just, once I had that knowledge, it was like I had the follow through. I had the music. You could just make it happen, you know?
Right. And yeah, I mean, like at that point, this is like early 2010s, maybe even late 2000s. At this point, remind me what year?
I moved to LA in 2004.
Okay.
And so like I started making music with my group Thirsty Fish then. So our first album comes out in 2008.
Right.
Yeah, so 2008 we put out a record, 2009 we put out a record, and then my first solo album came in 2010.
Right. Yeah, no, like shout out to Thirsty Fish, by the way. I was actually just
Psychosis.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I was actually just re-listening to like a song or two from that before we hopped on, which is funny. But so like you do all of that. Eventually you put out your first solo project, you establish yourself, you start to put those principles into practice and really start building a career for yourself. You mint art rap. That's a whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Dark comedy happens, and then the trajectory just starts to go up. But what I really want to focus on, especially with Neighborhood Gods Unlimited, is like the thing that was really cool about not only just listening to it, but like reading you talking about it in the press release, is that like the theme or the concept of the album revolves around this TV station called Dark Comedy Television. Mm-hmm. that you've created. And I thought to myself, like, you've been preoccupied with the idea of TV and film kind of housing these stories like your entire career. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you talk about how you're not really big on vignette structure storytelling when like so much of the stuff that I love you for is kind of vignette based.
Well, but that's the thing. Like that's sort of what I want to figure out how to do, because with the way an album works, you don't have any choice. Like you kind of have to do it that way.
Uh-huh.
And that's, and in a sense, that's why it's difficult to sort of present a project that feels like a movie or feels like a television show, because you can't, it's very difficult to do it with a structure that plays that way to listeners,
right.
So that's part of the math problem I've been trying to figure out, because what I want is to have music that can create the sort of moments that can be created when you've been watching something for 45, 50 minutes and you're invested in characters and what happens to them. Like the sort of juice you have to create an emotional moment. Like I want to figure out how to do that with music.
Right. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense to me. Like even like to me, I started to really notice it with dark comedy because like I just think about you. I think about Dark Comedy Late Show and you literally like being this TV host in the video. Like you could even go back as far as to unapologetic art rap if you really want to, but like it started to become noticeable to me around there. Like Hella Personal Film Festival is still my favorite project of yours, and that whole project, you know, like that whole project it's in the title. Like
Right.
every song is like a short film, you know. Like, you know, like Anime Trauma and Divorce, like the whole thing is about you channeling everything happening in your life at that point through anime and television and Black Mirror and all that. You know, like you've always been fascinated with how you can fit your life and rap music into this format, and you
100%.
figured out a way to literalize it with the concept of dark comedy television.
Yeah.
So like, talk to me about where the just talk to me about like where the idea for the network came from and this album came from and how that started to come together. And that's not even mentioning the new Negroes. Like the new Negroes is a whole other thing too.
It
but
is.
like,
I mean, so the original idea is that it was like, I wanted to create a show. This is way back. This is a concept that I've been developing for a long time. But it was an excuse to do like parodies. Like I basically wanted to do Baroque versions of like everything on BET. Like I just want to do like how would you like, okay, what's the $100 version of Love and Hip Hop or whatever. Like that was how it originally started. But then like I hit on that idea of like, because there was a point where I was talking to Adult Swim about this, right? I was like, oh, how do I do a 15-minute version of this show? Because all of their shows are like 15 minutes.
Because this gives me very Adult Swim vibes too, for sure.
So that's when it hit me like, oh, this is because it costs money to maintain a cable network. All they can afford is 15 minutes a week. So they have to fit all of their programming into this, which means I get to make these little mini slices of all these different shows and cram them together. And then there's a meta narrative about the people running the network and you know, what are these characters? What are they up against? What are their values? Like, there's just a lot you can do with that concept, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, just going through the track listing as many times as I have, like, it took me a couple listens to realize that not every single one of these songs is supposed to be one of the shows. Like, some of them are commercials.
Some of them are commercials. No, some of them are like definitely commercials.
which is you know, like this is the type of thing that like I've already listened to this album at least like 4 or 5 times, and I'm still finding little details and morsels inside of it that are just like really fun.
And that's by design. The part that's a challenge is that I realize how difficult that is. Like, not in terms of high level of difficulty for execution, but difficult in terms of whatever I'm introducing into the world has to interact with what people expect from a rap album, an indie album, and you know, just people's like listener expectations. So it's like, if people are pressing play and expecting to get everything on listen 1, this is gonna put them in a difficult position to try to access this, because this is not that. This is like, there's a lot of story on this album that I am not saying up front. But that's the sort of media I love. Those are the movies I love. Like I like David Lynch. Like I like, there's this one central thing that he will not tell you that is the thing that holds this entire movie together. And you either figure it out or you don't. Like, that's the sort of that's just the sort of media I want to create, you know, and at this point in my career, it just doesn't seem to be any reason not to just go for it, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, like you've really like to me, in a lot of ways, this feels like the project you've been working up to for like a real long time. Like, I know you've also said that Boots Riley's I'm a Virgo was a big inspiration on this project too. And you know, like surrealism has always been something that's played a factor in your music, whether that's like the stuff you're talking about or the way you present it in the videos, like whatever. Like there's always been, to me, there's always been an element of magical realism to everything you've done, which is kind of the thing that's set you apart to me. Like, you really do feel like your music, the person who's in your music feels like they live in a different world than the rest of us do. It
Right.
feels like you live in a different world than the rest of us do. And you're just like, and you know, you're just like putting this together into like a season of television or like an hour and 45-minute long movie, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I
Yeah.
don't feel like I live in a different world, but I have been making music long enough to notice that like the perspective that I have is very abnormal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I had somebody I played okay, but on the phone screen for somebody a few months ago, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a rapper, and he was just like, how do you do this? Like how like and what he was asking is like, how do you not feel like it's audacious to make a rap song about this thing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like of like a very sort of like literal thing that is like it's 2.5 verses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it. And when I'm in my creative mode, I'm not thinking about how weird that is. It's just like, no, that's the conversation I want to have. Like, and I actually kind of needed to have that conversation because that actually happened to me and it fucked my head up. Like that
Yeah.
day fucked my head up. Like I was in the middle of making this album and that thing happened where I dropped my phone in the street and didn't know it, went into the store and came out like, oh shit, I don't have my phone on me, and looked and saw it in the street, smashed to pieces.
Smashed to
You know what I'm
pieces. Yeah.
saying? And it took me a while. Like I had stopped making music right then. Like for the next couple of weeks, I couldn't make anything, and I was like, why is this? I knew that it was bothersome to me that, you know, I didn't have access to my informational world in the way that I was used to. But what I realized is what really messed me up was that I had so many notes on that phone.
Yeah.
Like that, like, and it was like I couldn't get through the process of like getting back into my creativity until I spoke on that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it ended up in the song, you know?
Right. And I'm so happy you brought that up because that was one of like the 4 or 5 that I wrote down here specifically like as one that I was like, I need to ask about this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I haven't gone through that exact experience myself, but it's just an example of exactly what you're saying, where it's just like, you take this, you take this instance that I'm sure a lot of people, creative or otherwise, have been through. And you just like make us like, it's just one of those, like, you listen to it and it seems abstract at first,
Right.
but then it's just like, why didn't I think of this before? Another one that always sticks out to me is a short about a guy that dies every night from Hella Personal Film Festival. You know, like, just like, and just like the idea of like, what does it mean to die? Like all these, you know, like all these different ways that we, you know, like our ego might take a hit or something, or like even just even you comparing yourself to like one of the gargoyles from the cartoon and just being like, yeah, like I'm just trapped in this eternity of like, you know, like I freeze during the day and I come back at night, you know, like just like these things that if you think about them enough, they make perfect sense. And like, and you're like, you see the different bridges that it takes to get there. But on the surface, it's just like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, but like that just comes back to your perspective and how you see the world. And there was another quote from that you had mentioned before that really stuck out to me, like about shattering. When you were just like, I was shattered as a young person, and I spent the majority of my life not knowing it. In my ignorance, I would go on to shatter myself even further because it was all that I knew. This is a story about how people who are trying to find themselves get confused when they encounter things that remind them of themselves.
Mhm.
And it's just like, and like on the surface, that's brought up through songs like that, and through the
100%.
little shatter sound
Mhm.
effect that shows up at the end of all these songs. Like, was that the central idea that kind of brought this whole album together? Because it seems like it was kind of like a binding agent for you.
100%. This is so. Again, so dark comedy television is a vehicle for many programs, right?
Yeah.
This particular album, this story, this is one of the programs, is this story. And this story is about trauma. Like, it's a trauma story. Now, it's a trauma story with magical realism, and that's the part that I'm sort of trying to leave open to interpretation. But you're 100% correct that is the thing that holds it together, is this idea of a person shattering, what a shattered person will do, the ways that a shattered person will try to fix themselves once they figure out that that's the case, and then what can happen when you go about that the wrong way.
Yeah, and it's like, because at first when I listened to it, I was under the impression that it was like a full, I thought it was like a full season of television at first, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Like, to me, it really does kind of feel like one condensed narrative that's taking place over the course of like 40-45 minutes, as opposed to like each song isn't an episode. Like, that was what I came in thinking at first. But, you know, like, that's why it made me chuckle earlier when you were just like, you know, like, oh, like, I really like, just like, I keep going back to the vignette thing you said, because like, I'm seeing what you're saying, and how, like, well, once again, like, on like my fourth or fifth listen, I was like, oh, this is like all a part of like one thing being condensed into this little frame, like you were saying, with like, how can I get this whole network's worth of programming into 15 minutes?
Right.
And there were a handful of songs that I wanted to just like explore, because I love, you know, like, I love how you condense, because like, the thing is, like, a lot of these are still vignettes, kind of. Like,
yeah.
But like, there is, but like, there is a framework that's tying them all together. Like, there is a narrative, there is a theme, but it's just like, you know, like, the first one I wanted to touch on was, you know, like, the single, Contraband, the Plug Has Bags of Me, which, like, first and foremost, The Plug Has Bags of Me is another one of those, like, why didn't I think of that? Like, damn, you know, like, you know, like, Jesus, like, sometimes, like, I'm not a drug person, but just like the idea of like, that you could feel so disembodied that it's just like, I'm somewhere else. I'm in that bag. I'm smoking me, like, on some, like, you know, like, you take a hit of the bong in college, and it's just like, whoa, like, where am I? But like, talk to me about Contraband and how that story came together, and what Kenny's beat brought to it.
that's one, like, okay, you actually have already just nailed it with what you said right there, and like, I hesitate to even add any more, because this, like, that's just the idea of a person trying to buy bags of themselves. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. Like, there's like the entire universe of things that spring forward from that idea. Like, that's what's at the center of the song. And this maybe like the second or third song I wrote for this project. Like, once that I started to kind of understand where it was going, and it's just with Kenny's beat, it's just there's this emotion and vulnerability in it, and it was like, okay, this is the perfect vehicle for me to like have this part of this trauma conversation.
And yeah, just to have that be like one aspect of the trauma conversation. Like, there's so many, you know, like, there's so many songs on here that really dig into that. Like, okay, but on the phone screen really digs into that, in the sense that, like, you break your phone, you lose these files, even if it's just temporarily, but it's just like, part of you is fractured because you know, like, part of you isn't necessarily gone, but like, it's broken in a way that it wouldn't be if you still had a hold of these files. But then I think about a song that communicates the exact opposite to me in Relentless Hands and Feet, which to me, that's probably the most confident you are on the whole album. That's how it feels. I don't know if I'm reading that wrong or not, but just like hearing you be like, don't try me, try the void, and just like puffing your chest out. Like, talk to me about talk to me about how Relentless Hands and Feet plays into the narrative you're working with here. And or actually no, you answer that part first. I have another question.
To me, that song is because see, a lot of these songs mean a lot of different things, but to me, the crux of that song is just like when I say the city's trying to get rid of me, and I ain't leaving until I'm paid to. It's just like it's not a person fighting the city, but it's a person fighting to survive in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a person fighting to matter and feel relevant and feel comfortable and feel safe. You know, when they're surrounded by harm. And that's the spirit the song is written with. It's like raging against all of that.
Yeah. And like, and you know, like it gives me a similar feeling that the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure song from Anime Trauma and Divorce. Why am I blanking on the name of it? I'm looking at it.
I'm a Joestar
right now. I'm a Joestar. There we go. You know, it kind of gives me the same. It kind of gave me the same vibe as I'm a Joestar for some reason. Like just in terms of the energy of it. And the other thing I was gonna ask is like, you mentioned something about like you had to like fight a rapper's apathy to get this beat. I'm like that's the line on that song that really sticks out to me. Like what did you mean by that? Whose apathy are you fighting? Your apathy or somebody else's?
I actually cannot tell you that.
That's cool.
I actually cannot tell you that. That is not a story that I have full license to tell.
Word. Okay. But you know, like even the idea of you feeling like you're ready to fight another person, metaphorically, whatever, to get this song and make this song the way it was made, like that exudes confidence to me. Like really, you know, like that puts it forth that it's just like this is, you know, like this is the moment where you're like, where you get the second wind and you're ready to bust through the wall, not necessarily 100%. Be held back. Yeah, like it like that's part of the reason why that song stuck out to me, because there aren't very many other moments like that on this record.
That's
really.
True. That's 100% right. There's a lot of beat down on this album. It's not a lot of stand up.
Which is you know, like that's just what it is, and I appreciate that about this, because it makes that moment feel even more strong and special. And then I think of how you retell the Superman story, or like you don't retell the Superman story on Clark Kent, but you're just like playing the role of like somebody at the Daily Planet who's like, you know, that nigga's Superman, right?
Right. Like, why is y'all playing? Like, why are y'all acting like this? Yeah.
But then you kind of insert and then you take on the role of playing somebody else looking at you being Clark Kent and being Open Mike Eagle and having this career, and just like, you know, you trying to, you kind of confronting yourself through another character. Like talk to me about how Clark Kent came to be, because like, once again, that's just like it's just like that there's so many layers to that song.
There really is.
And
there's always been an element of this story that's like somewhat like related to superheroes, because they all, you know, typically the interesting ones have like these tragic origin stories, right? So like, again, it's a trauma thing, but like I have had this idea and not even idea, I've had this experience for the longest, like especially we're talking about early 2000s when I had day jobs, and you know, I'd come to work hungover because I had a show the night before, or you know, I'm inviting these same coworkers to the show, and you would encounter this sort of resentment from people sometimes, that I think the baseline of it is like, for some people, because especially like people who like Gen Xers, right, who had been at this job for 6-7 years already, they're so mad you got something else going on.
Yeah,
like they're so mad. Like
that's
like
real.
that, like especially in that second verse, it's like, I gave up my dreams like a responsible adult. You know what I'm saying? And you out here playing games, you know, like, so
Yeah.
I've always wanted to put that story, not that story so much as that idea. I've always wanted to explore that idea in a song, and this is where it came out.
Yeah, like I mean, just like that's one that I got stuck on. I listened to it a couple times, and then I listened to it a couple more, and it's just like it takes an incredible amount of self-awareness to even think about this stuff. You know, like forget forget making the song, just like the amount of like observation, and like, you're an anthropologist, bro. I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but like your work is like very anthropological in a way that just like it really does just like make sense of the human condition to me, because like, not even just because I get the reference points, but like just the idea of like, oh, this is what this person might think of me, and let me put this in the context of like, he's just Mike Eagle. Like, I might just know him as Mike Eagle, but he's open Mike Eagle out in the crowd. Like, like just like the levels and layers of self-awareness and just attentiveness that you need to have to put that together is really fucking cool to me.
Well,
like these are, yeah, no, like these are the, I like to think that these are the types of things I think about, but I don't know that I could ever create a concept as like it, you know, you hear it and it just like it's complex, but it's just immediately like, boom, oh, I know that, you know, like, yeah, like I see that in the world. And like once again, like I might be a little biased because I'm speaking as a creative who's you know, kind of like who's like built a couple things and is like moving and has interacted with stuff like this before, so I know it when I see it. But you know, that's just cool as fuck. It just made me smile to be like, damn, like you're really still just like once again, I go back to like a short where a guy dies every night, and just like that idea of like, what does it mean to die, and how can we die, and just like just to see you still mulling these ideas over is super dope to me. And and for you to have,
I appreciate that your interest in them, because that's, again, it like gets at this audacity that I don't realize I have until like I put this stuff in front of somebody and I'm like, yeah, it's a song about Clark Kent, but also me, and also in the second verse I'm my coworker talking about me, like, you know, it's like, and these things, like, you know, it's like I was saying, to me, it's like there's no, like, when I look at indie rap, right? Again, like there's no rules to this. There's no rules to this, right?
Hell no.
And I live in that because that's, you know, I've made my whole career off of living in that, and so I can only like become more and more comfortable in it. But it's like, oh, that's right, like that's a weird idea. So it's I'm glad that it comes across, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it definitely does for me. Like a lot of these songs really hit me on the lyrical and conceptual front. But one of the ones that hit me the most on the musical front was Rejoinder.
Yeah.
And like favorite beat on the whole album. Like that's one, like I think I might have played it close to 9 or 10 times.
Wow.
The first time I heard it. It's like, and I mean, like Nolan's the homie. That's Nolan the Ninja.
Yeah, it is.
Like we've been like, Nolan and I have been friends damn near as long as I've known you.
Okay.
So like anytime I see Nolan, I'm like, Nolan, you know, but like or actually, no, I didn't even know it was him at first. The first time I heard it, I went back and looked, I was like, who made this beat? And I was like, of course this sounds like a Nolan beat.
Yeah.
But
man.
you know, like
he's like a secret crazy producer. Like he's a sick rapper, man. Crazy producer.
Yeah, like it's just crazy to me that more people don't know about him. Like, you're like going through the producer credits and seeing Fanon in here, child actor, who we'll get into in a minute because y'all have a special relationship. Yeah. Like just like seeing all, and like seeing my man Playa Hayes on here, like seeing these like luminaries, and then seeing like somebody like Nolan who's been so just like seeing him in the mix. I'm just like, damn, like that's a look for him that I think that I think he's deserved for a really long time.
Yeah, he's crazy talented, man. He's
Yeah, man.
crazy talented. Whatever needs to happen for him to get more love, like I hope it does, because that dude is amazing.
So like like how did that song happen? Like, did you hear the beat and then start putting the song together, or did you have the concept? Like what was that beat telling you when you made that song?
I This is the song where the shattered person finds the last piece, right? And
Yeah.
so, that should be, that's supposed to be a good feeling. That's a nice feeling. And like I really love this idea of like welcoming like I love this idea of a person who has felt lost and unmoored finding their people sort of situation. Like there's just a lot that I really like about that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Of like, oh yeah, come sit here. This is we've been holding this place for you. Like we are here for you. Like this is
Word.
yeah, this is what you've been waiting for. We've been waiting for. Like there's something powerful about that feeling, and I wanted to write a song that embodied that. And this was like when I needed to do that, of this when this beat came across my desk, and I'm like, yes, yes, that one, yes, that one.
Yeah. It really has that feeling, and like even like the hook on here, like the hook has a very like commercial jingle vibe to it, like to the point where I listened to it and I was like, I swear to God, I've heard this shit somewhere before. Like the little da 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 da, like that very much sounds like that sounds like a mnemonic to me, you know, like on some like Disney Channel shit.
If
like,
it's borrowed, I don't know it, and I hope I don't owe nobody no money, because I thought I came up with that myself.
Yeah, but I mean like that. Yeah, like I'm not even trying to say it sounds derivative or anything. It just has that. It just has that quality to it where I feel like, damn, have I heard this somewhere? Like I like searched. Like I swear to God, like I spent like I went down some rabbit holes. Like, is this from a commercial, like an old one? But no, like it's just like it has that kind of like warm, welcoming melody and vibe to it, where it's just like it really does. And it's like I don't want to get too far off track, but like I used to watch a lot of Defunctland. I don't know if you're familiar with the channel.
I love Defunctland.
Yeah, I figured you might. They like Son did a whole video about the history of the Disney Channel theme song. And like that brought me back to thinking about the Disney Channel theme song, and just like how, I mean, like anybody who hasn't watched Defunctland's history of the Disney Channel theme song, please go watch it.
I don't know
if
I've
one of
seen
the coolest.
That one. I'll have to check that out.
Like I don't want to spoil it because it has like there's like a cool theme to it, but go watch it. It's fucking incredible. Like maybe No Gas, one of the best documentaries I've maybe ever seen in my life. Just really, really, really sweet, good stuff. But like, yeah, like that song is, and like it's cool that it's closer to the end because of that. And it's just like, what does it mean to finally be whole again? And like, you know, like everything's not still solved.
Right.
You know? Like,
wouldn't that be nice if it was though? Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
Wouldn't it be so nice if it was just as easy as finding the last piece of whatever, you know?
Yeah, no, like life is a puzzle every day, and it's just like finding. So sometimes you gotta sometimes you gotta like whittle the side off a piece to make it fit.
There you go.
On some shit. But you know, like we're not here to do a full track by track breakdown of the album. Just go listen to it. It's fucking great. I wanted to ask specifically about your relationship with Child Actor, because over the last like 3 years, like he produced most of the previous Industries album.
Yep.
He's had a good chunk of the beats on your last 3 solos.
Yep.
Like he has like 5 or 6 on Auto Reverse. He has like 4 or 5 on Ghetto Engineering.
Yep.
Like I love Max. Shout out to Max. He's incredible. I see him all the time. He's one of the greatest we got. What is it about Child Actor's beats that have kind of made him a mainstay in your circle?
I think it starts with his sound, which to me is like it's like dream logic almost.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like it sounds like if you dream of a hip hop beat, like it's like you know, it's got all of the elements that you've come to expect in a hip hop beat, which is done in a way where it's like I can't listen to this and tell what I'm listening to. Well, usually with hip hop beats, like, okay, I can hear how the sample is chopped, I can hear how this drum is laid here, and oh, there's a bass line. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his process creates a sort of sound that I think is even though it sits in context with like Mad Lib, Alchemist, like, you know what I'm saying? It completely does its own thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is like, I'm a real not sucker. I really lean towards relationship and proximity.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this isn't proximity geographically because he lives in Connecticut and I live in LA.
Right.
But me and him have just known each other and been each other's orbit for so long. And there's such like a mutual respect there that makes working with him really easy. And at the point I am in my life and my career, that means a lot to me. Like,
sure, yeah.
There are some very famous producers who, like, I could probably work with them, but like I don't like talking to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like how it feels like when, you know what I'm saying, when we're interacting, like it's not validating. It's like there's some weird dynamic that I don't understand. And I just don't have time. I don't have time. We just don't have enough time on Earth. Things are bad outside. Like I can't be stuck in a cycle of weird conversations and knowing where I stand with people. I can't do it. So like that is a huge factor for me as well. You know. And the third thing I would say is that he's incredibly productive.
Yeah.
Incredibly productive. Like a lot of people can't make enough beats that I like quickly. But he can.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? You're not the first rapper I've heard say that. Yeah. I'm not gonna say who it was, but he and I were at a show for somebody whose album he'd produced for recently, and I heard the two of them talking while we were kind of like in the circle and talking to somebody else. And this person was like, I have to stop myself from emailing you asking for beats because you just keep on sending me, like, you'll send me like 5 or 6. And then I'm like, can I get 5 or 6 more?
Yeah.
Like he's one of those, man. Yeah. Like, you know, like, and yeah, like getting to know him the way I have. And he's an alum of the pod. I had him and Fanon on when they put their album out earlier this year. Like how supportive he's been of me. Like he's a real gem. I love his sound. Like, and like I told him that his beats sound like they sound like headaches, but just in the sense that they're kind of like pulsing. They kind of go like
yeah.
Like it's like real distinctive, and like not in a bad way in the sense that like my head hurts.
I know what you mean.
And also he used to make commercial jingles.
Yep.
Like that was his job for a long time. So like it's like. With this project in particular, I feel like there was a lot of synergy because of that. Like maybe even like I feel like here and previous industries, like I feel like it's really strong there because like those two projects are so built around that sense of nostalgia and trying to make sense of that. You know?
And then the product is very like it's like abstract commercialism. Like it really does. Yeah, I think you're dead on.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it makes me happy to see that work ethic continue, because like that relationship gets to develop and it gets to unfurl and unfold in other cool ways. And like y'all just sound really good together. And I just noticed, I was like, this nigga has hella fucking child actor beats out of nowhere. Like,
100%.
Man, there's 2 more things I wanted to ask before we formally wrap this up. And one kind of goes back to this, it goes directly to the idea of the gigantic combination CD cassette player that you've been wearing on your head for these last 3 albums. 'Cause like this is the second album cover you've done this on? Because
Yep.
the first one was Auto Reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't do it on Ghetto Engineering.
Yeah, that's my mama's hand.
But right, exactly. Shout out to moms. We love
Mm-hmm.
you. But like, just because I've been meaning to ask you this since Auto Reverse happened. Like, obviously, like, I understand the concept of that album, but like, why did that come back for Neighborhood Gods Unlimited? Like, what does that mean to you?
There's a so component system is another way to say shattered person. You know what I'm saying? So like now that I'm addressing that, that's what it was time to bring the head back.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because like I think you might have like posted something about it on IG where you just like showed you like lifting it, because in my head, of course, I'm just like, oh, he put the whole thing on his head and just like drilled a hole in the middle, which like obviously like there's stuff you need to take out for your head to fit in there. But then I saw you moving it and I was like, oh, of course it's just like hollowed out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it just like made me laugh that I didn't think that could be the case. But it's such a cool image, because it's some, you know, like I grew up having one of those component systems. My father had my dad had one. He's a music nut, so he's just got like, he had CDs and cassettes like you wouldn't believe. So it was just interesting that you felt the need to bring that back a second time, because I hadn't even thought about the shattered person aspect of it. But like it's almost become this like, it's almost become like your icon.
Yep.
In a way, like it's like, because like to me, you've never really had a visual icon in that way, and like the component system is your visual icon now. You might as well just like,
case as well.
You know, like it's and just having it be you in the suit with you in the head floating on the cover. It just looks great on top of that. So
I'm glad to hear it, man. Very glad to hear that.
Yeah. And then just like to go back to like our conversation like way earlier in this episode, where we're just like talking about building things for ourselves, you know, like you've been on quite a few labels in your in your career.
Mm-hmm.
You, of course, like Auto Reverse Records is your indie label that you put your stuff out on now. We mentioned the new Negroes before. Like the new Negroes happened. You and Baron Vaughn got that opportunity to bring that show together. It only lasted a season. Unfortunately, Comedy Central cancels it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, like that happened. I mean, like Auto Reverse happened shortly after that.
Well, Anime Trauma Divorce happened shortly after that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Auto Reverse a couple years later.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I meant the label.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The label got started while it was after we had shot and we had produced the first season. It hadn't aired yet.
Mm-hmm.
Is when the label got started. 2018.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you know, like you're doing all this stuff, like obviously sometime in between all of that, Stony Island happens. You're building that up. But you know, kind of making your bones as a podcaster. You know, like talking to Questlove, talking to LP, having all these guests on Secret Skin, and then you and Anna Marie Cox are doing Past Due now, where you're kind of breaking all this stuff down, which is like really cool and fruitful for me. Like once again, as somebody who knows to an extent exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I bring all that up to say that you've worn a lot of hats, are currently wearing a lot of hats, and you're very open about how soul-sucking, difficult, and scary that prospect is.
100%.
Because it is, you know, like it truly, truly is. Like, considering that you're about to go on tour, you're doing multiple podcasts, you're running a network, you're about to put out an album yourself. At this stage, how are you keeping this all together?
Um, I mean, honestly, you can't put the same amount of energy into everything all the time. So, you know, I have to be very aware of what season it is, right? Because right now it's music season. It's really hard to do music season and podcast season at the same time, right? At least not in the sense of trying to do What Had Happened Was or Secret Skin or anything that takes a lot of mental resource and organizational time and, coordination from me specifically. Where past due, we have a producer who does a lot of that organization and admin work. We get together and we discuss, but they do a lot of the execution of it. So I just need to show up ready to do the thing. Which is more sustainable at this particular juncture, right? And so, I'm gonna, like you said, put out the album. I'm gonna go on tour. I'm gonna be on tour a lot this year. And,
yeah, you are.
And what that means is, a lot of people ask me about What Had Happened Was all the time. I'm in various conversations with various people that could be really great. I'm not in a position to really bring any of them across the finish line. So those are having to take the time that they take. And then by the end of the year, probably I'll be taping the next season of that. And a lot of it, and that's music and podcasting, let alone if a television project happens.
Right.
Which,
oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Which, when you ask me that question, it's a lot easier for me to focus on music and podcasting because those are things I can control.
Right.
The other stuff that I'm involved in, specifically television stuff, like I can develop projects and put them in position to launch and see what happens. But ultimately, so much of that industry is about waiting. And I would say that just where things are at economically, I can't prioritize any of that right now because you sell a TV show and you don't get paid from it for a year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And then let alone if it's able to continue paying you by actually existing in the world, So it's just like, that's not a basket I'm secure enough to put eggs in at this moment. So I have to focus on the stuff I can control. So in a sense, it's like, I'm not keeping everything together. I'm more like doing what I can. Trying to make the artistic statements that I feel strongly about making, and trying to put myself in a position to maximize those, and being really thoughtful about what I can do now and what I can do later,
Yeah, because, I mean, like, the thing that's most important as you get older and you get more experience that I've, kind of had to realize is that, like, you really need to you need to get good at picking your battles. And, like, I'm in a position right now where I'm able to juggle doing this podcast, working for Hearing Things, and being Dylan Green, freelance gumshoe extraordinaire. Like it's like I can handle that for now. But if something else were to come up, it might not be. Right. But even still, like, I figured out ways to optimize what I do. Like I don't, like, somebody needs to pay me for this shit. Coming to Riverside, like, has optimized the way I make this podcast.
Right.
Like in ways that I don't have time to describe. Coming back into freelancing after having been off the street for like 6-7 months. I'm coming back to this with a different perspective than I had last June or July or whenever it was, and just like figuring that out is challenging and scary for a lot of reasons. Like, you have more responsibilities than I do, but like I still have quite a few, and it's like scary to not know where next money might be coming from.
100%.
That's
what past due is all about. That fear, and how we handle it. That's what that podcast is all about.
And I appreciate y'all so much for talking about that, because more people, like, it's just nice to know what to expect, because like a big part of where I'm at talking to younger creatives, writers, podcasters, whoever, is being like, you need to understand like what this entails,
Right.
because it's because like there's more to it than just like making the thing, posting it, and off to the races, you know. Like I'm noticing that more younger people are starting to talk about it and be more open about it, and you know, like anybody willing to do that is just great to me.
I mean,
And,
you know, it's the sort of thing where, because this is Anna's idea, really, and she pitched it to me, and I was like, yes, let's do it. But I think even in my yes, I didn't understand how important this was going to be. You know, like it really is. It's a new paradigm of having a conversation around a thing that's really difficult for a lot of people, and because of that, it's just really resonated with a lot of people, and just giving us the sort of motivation to keep pressing on and doing it.
yeah, and just like knowing that it's really tough doing multiple things just to like keep the lights on.
100%.
Nobody should have to live like that if they don't want to, but a lot of us choose to do it because we don't have any other choice. But a lot of us are also lucky in the sense that like we have the passion to make music, make a podcast, write about music, and like we have the energy to expend to want to do this stuff.
I think it's about energy, and it's also about having like a mission statement. Like it's also about like having things that you feel like need to be out in the world, whether it's art, whether it's conversations, whatever it is. It's like it has to be important enough to you for you to fight and use all the time you have all day to do this stuff, you know.
Right. Yeah, because if it wasn't, like, you just didn't eat all day and are worried about when your credit card bill is going to get paid for no reason.
Right.
Type
100%.
shit. So I mean, like, I'm going to save the sappy shit for after I ask this last final question, but Mike, if your life I think I know, I'm interested to hear your answer to this. If your life was a movie, what would it be about?
It'd be about having a rich inner life and trying to bring those things into physical reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate how succinct that answer is, because I do feel like you mentioned before that you've kind of been chipping away at this idea of figuring out how to make music feel like experiencing a movie or experiencing a TV show. And once again, to go back to Hella Personal Film Festival, like, it hit me in that way of just like, oh, I just got finished watching 14 short films that all revolve around this idea. But, you know, like, you really are about, like, that's your ethos. You know, like, it's like that's what you've been doing, this whole time. And it's been really fun, just like as a fan of what you do, just watching you flesh it out, and just like getting closer and closer to the target every time. I don't know if you're like this. I don't want to project that onto you, because like I'm a type of person where it's like I could put something out, whatever it may be, and be like, it's better than the last thing, but it's still not where I want it to be. I don't know if you feel that way about the stuff you make.
I do, yes, but there's a bunch of factors in that. I mean, obviously, as you progress in being a craftsperson, you know, you're always becoming a little bit better at the craft, right? So there's that part. There's also a resources part, you know, where like I still have never gotten enough funding to make exactly what I want to make either. You know, like there's that part of it too. But yes, I would absolutely have to agree with that.
Yeah, no, like the funding, of course, plays such a big role in that. But like you're constantly working toward like one day that project's gonna happen, and you know, like Neighborhood Gods Unlimited is definitely like, this is, having talked to you about it and having listened to it as much as I have, like, this is, you're doing it.
I
you
appreciate
know, like
that,
this
man.
is,
I very much appreciate that.
Of course, like it's just, I don't know, like, first off, thank you for, you know, like thank you for like not even just for coming on here, but just for doing what you do the way you've done it your whole career,
Mm.
and just like it's been inspiring and fun for me to watch and see, and to just like now have our second sit down be at this point where I feel like I feel like I've come really, really far,
Oh
but I
yes, you
have
have.
like I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Like it's been 10 years, but I feel like I'm in like the first 20% of chapter 1.
Right, because now the
You
things are
know?
yours.
Like,
Now the things are
exactly.
yours, and that's a whole different ball game.
This shit is new game plus at this point,
It
man. Like
is.
that's what it is. But just like I want to thank everybody listening, because this is fucking episode 200,
200.
y'all. Like this is
200.
Jesus Christ, son. I just can't believe that that's like a thing I'm saying and a thing that I can like it. Yeah, it's I'm not going to process it until it's done, but just like, like I just really appreciate everything you've done, and like seeing the way you've built it. It's really like you're inspiring way more people than you know.
That's
And yeah.
that's an amazing thing to hear. I'm a little isolated out here in LA. You know what I'm saying? It's me,
I
Video
feel you.
Dave, and Rift out here, and
Yeah,
we often
man.
feel sort of disconnected from a world that we know we are a part of. So that's really, it's really incredible to hear that.
Yeah, no, y'all are really doing your thing, and just like and then yeah, just like thank you, thank you for taking a chance on me when you
Of
did,
course.
because like I don't know where I'd be if a lot of those early interviews didn't happen. Like,
But you were always going to be where you were destined to be because of your skill and curiosity and your passion for this music. Like there was no denying where you were going to be.
that means a lot to hear, man. Thank you. I just like I've all I've wanted to do is give back. Like this has been my life since I was 9.
Hmm.
Like, or at least being a part of rap culture has been my life since I was 9, and however I can give back to that and be me is what I want to do. So just like thanks for helping me do
Hey,
that.
I love that we all get to be a part of each other's journey, man. That's the only
Yeah,
way to really do this.
really. Yeah, nah, like that's the future. Like
Hmm.
that's what we've been talking about this whole time. Like if we're not together, where are we?
Lost.
Ugh, Jesus.